Are you tired of getting defeated by Jad? Are you fed up of watching people complete the inferno whilst you're standing outside getting bopped on the head, feeling like the noob that you really are? And do you want to transform from this to this?
Well then look no further, because I'm here to help you become a RuneScape master. Hi, I'm Woody, and I'm here today to teach you 3 essential things that is going to bring you success to your RuneScape future. But before we do that, why don't I tell you a little reason why I've made this video in the first place? Well, it all starts with the fight caves. Oh, we're back in 2015. Oh, this looks like an old stream video of mine. Oh, that's because it is. So, 10 years ago, to this year, is when I sent my first ever fight caves. This was the inventory I took with me, this was the gear I took with me, and then I sent the attempt on stream. Now, you can see currently here, I've nearly hit wave 60. And for those who've done a fire cape, you know that there's only 63 waves for your fire cape. Now, a lot of things can be picked up from this one video, but the main thing is that I'm always running into a corner, away from the enemies, and I'm hoping for the best. Realistically, this is not what you want to do. As you can see here, there is a ranger currently trying to attack me. There is also a bat coming after me too. There's a melee literally in front of me, and I have to try and make sure that I don't get hit at all. I also have a blob. This is probably one of the hardest probably the hardest wave in the fight caves. And this is realistically not what you want to do. So I chanced myself at least 50 times during this entire time. But what you're about to witness is my next move. And unfortunately, it wasn't what I hoped it would be. I actually screen recorded the clip itself, which was actually 10 years ago. So I wasn't actually that experienced at trying to clip this stuff. But what you can notice here is that I'm attacking the melee without my prayer. So my main focus is to attack whatever's in front of me. But the problem is that this is too basic. This is not what you want to be doing. This is showing a bad example of being in the fight caves. But I made an effect for a video I made 10 years ago, which is why it's gone to black and white. And what you notice in a moment is the mage eventually hooks round while I'm praying range instead of mage, and I get absolutely destroyed, giving me no motivation to run back into the cave and to never do a fight cape ever again. And so we're back to present day. Now, I'm going to teach you how to not do that. And I'm going to teach you some simple tricks and tips on how to be a RuneScape master. So something that's going to help you a lot. And you might not have thought about this, but the most helpful thing right now will actually be your ping calculator, which is at your top right of your screen. For this, you're going to need to download the client RuneLite. If you've already downloaded RuneLite, start by typing in on the plugin section on the right hand side of your screen the word ping. First thing you're going to want to go onto is World Hopper. Now, if you can't find it on your settings, download it in the plugin hub to the right. Then you download the World Hopper, you click on the settings, scroll down to the bottom, and you display the current ping. Tick this on, and once it's ticked, you can then tap on the little arrow on the top of the bar, which will then close the interface, and you can carry on the game like normal. You're probably wondering, what the hell is ping? Well, I'll explain it. So think of it this way. If you're trying to think of what ping means, imagine it like a walkie-talkie. You click the button and you say, hello. That sound then travels all the way to the other side, and once it's received on the other end, that's when your ping has calculated your click. They have to run all the way back with the sound, and eventually the next person receives it. The lower the number, the quicker your clicks and your speed and reaction to game will be. The higher the number, it will mean that you'll have laggy moments, it will mean your game will slow down, and it means the reaction to your clicks to the game will take longer. In hindsight, you want to just be aware of the high and the low numbers. You want low numbers, not high numbers. The lower the number, the better. The next plugin I want to go over is called Tile Indicators. Now, tile indicators are very important in this game now to what they used to be about 10 years ago. And the reason being is because it allows you to see where you're standing, where you want to stand, and what you're hovering over. To get this tile marker plugin, you want to type in tile indicator into the plugin hub. The one it should be called is tile indicators. You can also get one called corner tile indicators, but for this purpose, I'll be going over it with the basic tile indicator plugin. Once you've downloaded it and you've clicked the settings to then adjust what you want, you can change the destination tile, the hover tile, and the current tile. The destination tile allows you to see where it is you're running to, and the destination tile should color up in blue. That is called the destination tile. The highlighted hover tile I've made quite translucent, which means you semi see it, and you can hover over something and run over to it. Finally, the current tile is the blue tile. So I can count how many tiles I am from where I am to where I could hover to. If I want to run 7 tiles east, I would run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I click here, that is exactly 7 tiles from where I was standing. Let's say for an instance you're in a combat situation. Why is this useful? Now, the reason why this is useful is because you can actually see the ground is made up of small squares. Now the small squares indicate everywhere you can stand in the room, and you can never stand between any lines, any gaps, any corners, nowhere. It'll always be a square every time. You will not move from any other square unless you click on it. You will not move to a line, a corner, or off the map. It doesn't work like that. This game is so old, it's always stuck to its originality, which means you move to one square, you move to another square, and you move to another square. This is why this plugin is so handy, because you can actually hover over how far you wish to run, and it will give you a path, initially, wherever you want to go. Another thing to also mention as well is, if you are walking with tile markers on, you will move one square at a time. And as you'll notice, I will always move in the direction where my destination tile is led to, every single time. But if I was to put my run on, and I was to start all the way at this pillar, when you run 2 tiles at a time. Unless the line is uneven, so it has an odd amount of squares, the last square you will walk 1 tile. But every time, if it's an even number of squares, you will run 2 tiles every time. So this is 8 squares, I will run 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm here. I'm here in 4 ticks, because every time you run is a tick cycle. I'll get more into ticks later, but right now, we're focusing on what tile markers do. But as you can see, 4, again. If I run back, it's another 4. If I was to run, like I said, 3 tiles, it'd be 2, then 1. 2, then 1. It makes sense because it adds up and it correlates to how many steps you're making. The next one I wish to show you is NPC indicators. You can also download another plugin with it alongside it, but for now we're going to focus on the main one, which is NPC indicators. So as before, head over to your plugin hub and download NPC indicators. You'll then be able to go on to the configuration. Don't worry about that wall of text. That just shows all of the NPCs I've highlighted. But as you see at the top here, it will tell you what it will allow you to highlight. Now, the 2 main ones you want to turn on are highlight tile and highlight southwest tile. This will become a lot easier to explain once I show you. So, you're currently doing Slayer, or you're doing PVM, which is player versus monster, and you want to be able to take on NPCs, but you don't know how big their tile radius is. You can't tell how far you have to run under them or walk around them, and you don't know what you're working with. Well, I have an easy way of explaining it. Now that you've downloaded NPC indicators, hold shift and right click the thing that you wish to mark. You tag the creature, and it will then tell you it's a 3x3 creature. As you can see, it is 3 tiles by 3 tiles. And this tile here is the southwest tile. Don't worry about it for now. It will help down later line like I explained. But now you know it is a 3x3 NPC. If I start attacking this NPC, which is worm, sorry, shall I say, you know you can walk around all of this area to attack it. If you walk away from this area, it's a mage attack, so it's not going to run to you. You know that you have this gap to walk forward to attack it. So if you wanted to flinch and you didn't want to get hit by melee, you would know that there is a gap between you so you're not getting hit by this boss. When in the fight caves, this is also very, very essential. If you're ever doing a Jad as a melee build and you're only going in to do melee, what you want to do is you want to give yourself a tile's worth of space. Wait until the NPC is attacked and attack afterwards. Wait until the NPC is attacked, attack afterwards. And then remember to walk back every time. So that way you don't get hit. And this way you're able to refrain from taking damage and you're only able to do damage, which allows a lot of room for you to save supplies, and not only that, but also have less panic. And finally, one really big important one, especially for understanding how quick a mob can attack and how quick you can attack a mob. A plugin called Metronome and Visual Metronome are extremely helpful. So, as before, go over to the plugin hub and type in Visual Metronome. It should be the one which has a colourful square in the corner. If I go over to the plugin hub, you should be able to see the exact same one which I'm using. So we type in Visual and Metronome. You can see a player with a square underneath them with another square on their screen. This will be the plugin that I'm recommending. Now, before I explain ticks, and I didn't go over it, well, a tick is actually a time increment of how long a tick lasts. It's hard to explain, but I'll try and give it in some sort of basic explanation. So a tick is 0.6 seconds long. You can see this white and grey square flickering, and you're wondering why it's flickering. That is showing you how often a tick occurs in the game. So once it goes white, grey, white, grey, white, grey, white, grey, that shows you that's been 8 ticks. Those 4 times I called 2 different colours. Now, the brilliant part about the Visual Metronome is that it allows all kinds of players to be able to use it. And not only that, but it also allows you to get used to different kinds of metronomes or different kinds of variations of tick timing. And I normally tend to recommend people use a visual metronome over an audio metronome because the last thing you want to do is distract yourself with the sounds in the game. So something that's very handy is you can use the tick number. So if you tick this little box right here onto the tick number, you can then change the number. So it will be 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you can also increase that number and you can add several numbers. So you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will change the color as it goes. And you can see here, there's the tick color, the top color, the third tick color, and the fourth tick color. Some bosses attack at 4 ticks, some bosses attack at 5 ticks. Now a great use is being able to use the wiki to get an understanding of what speed some of the bosses attack at. In the fight caves, you'll notice that the fair majority of the creatures that you're attacking are 4 tick. That's the best part, is that you mainly have to focus on 4 ticks. And it's quite simple. It's literally counting to 4 and then understanding the 0.6 seconds that you have to give within the time. So for some physical demonstration, let me kind of give it an idea of how this tick timing works. So let's use the plugin where we can actually tag the worms. So tag this one. Let me just untag this one really quickly. And you can see the worm is attacking me on 3. Can you see that? So 3, it attacks. 3, it attacks. 3, and it attacks. Now what you could do here is you could either attack straight after 3, or you could attack on 1, and you can give yourself an extra gap of time. But realistically, click on 4. So just as soon as 3 is finished, you can then hit on 4. So, like you'll see here, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. And it's as simple as that. You will never get hit by melee, because these creatures hit with melee and magic. If you stand in front of them, you will get hit with melee, and your chance to then get hit with damage. Realistically, you don't want to get damaged. So you want to avoid it as much as possible by keeping an eye on what the enemy is attacking with. So if it's attacking with mage, you pray with mage. And if you don't want to get hit by this melee, the basic thing you can do here is attack off tick, that's what it's called, is attacking off tick. So you don't want to sync attacks with the boss. You want to attack at a different time than the boss is attacking you. Now, like I said, you can change this metronome as much as you'd like, whether it be the color to help, whether it be the number to help, or you can make it an 8 cycle, because it won't change the fact that it's a 4-tick cycle, because it repeats in 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's lots of variations which you could do so that you don't get hit off particular prayers by particular bosses that have particular attacks, and it also allows you to save supplies and also do damage. So yeah, these are some plugins that I just really wanted to show, because a lot of people that do feature these do forget certain little bits, and they need to add some extra details and information, which some of you still question to this day, and I hope that this video does show it. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. But if you did enjoy the video and this does help you out, please drop the video a like, please subscribe, which always helps the channel as well, and do feel free again to comment below if there's any information that I may have missed. But hoping this takes you on a great journey. Hopefully you're able to get your fire capes, you're able to chase the inferno and get your infernal cape, and hopefully you'll see me again with a new video. Have a good one.